and then,
10 minutes given up.
yes,
In 1796, which by the way.
Okay. Podium mic check. Podium mic check. Commissioner Howe mic check. Commissioner Howe mic check. Commissioner Lopez mic check. Commissioner Lopez mic check. Chairman or Commissioner Beatty mic check. Commissioner Beatty mic check. Commissioner Dennis mic check. Mic check. Commissioner Meitzner mic check. Mic check. Justin Wagner mic check. Justin Wagner mic check. County Clerk mic check. County Clerk mic check. Tom Stoltz mic check. Tom Stoltz mic check.
How nice.
One minute. Thirty seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the Board of County Commission meeting. We are glad you're joining us. Those joining us online, Facebook and YouTube, those joining us via our television partner KPTS, and those that are here in person. As always, we like to acknowledge some of our peer electeds that are throughout the county. I see Mayor George Leap here from Goddard. Welcome, sir. We're glad you're joining us today. And we're in for a good meeting. As you walked in today, we always like to remind you, you could have picked up a meeting agenda packet right there at the front door. We encourage you to grab one of those and follow along. And if you're ever interested in the supporting material that we as the commission have to review in making decisions on each of these items, you can always access that at sedgwickcounty.org. If you look at the order of business today, I do want to call out and call attention to one piece here, and that is on the invocation. During the invocation this morning, we are going to take some time in a moment of silence to honor the families and those that were lost on 9/11, 2001. Nearly 3,000 people perished that day. So we want to take time just to remember the events that took place, to honor the families and the individuals that lost their lives, and also to memorialize all the heroes, the men and women that were active on scene that day and the days following. This is an important time, 23 years. And it's important for us to remember and never forget what took place. So during invocation, as our clerk prompts us, we're just going to take a moment of silence to honor 9/11 and what it represents to this country. So should be a quick day. I hope I didn't jinx it. But let's get ourselves to work. I'll officially call the meeting to order for September 11th, 2024. Madam Clerk, first item, please.
Invocation to be led by a moment of silence to honor the victims and families impacted on September 11th, 2001.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Madam Clerk, next item.
Roll call. Commissioner Meitzner.
Present.
Commissioner Dennis. Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Lopez.
Present.
Chairman Beatty.
Present. Next item, please.
County announcements.
And welcome back, Ms. Nicole Gibbs.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Nicole Gibbs of Strategic Communications. It's good to be back, sleep deprived or not. It was on this day 23 years ago that 2,977 people died in the 9/11 terrorist attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Tonight, in remembrance of the victims, Sedgwick County's historic courthouse will be illuminated in red, white, and blue lights. This past weekend, Sedgwick County firefighters also paid their respects to their fallen comrades by completing the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb at the Epic Center. Here's a short video to show you what a meaningful accomplishment this is.
19th floor, firefighter down. Tower number 2, 19th floor, firefighter down.
Okay, still Tom. 104th floor, northwest corner. 50 people trapped. The fire is burning beneath them. Okay.
104th floor, northwest corner. What building?
Building 1, okay.
10-4.
Sedgwick County Fire District Captain Jaso is here to tell you more about the stair climb. Sir?
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Morning. Yeah, just about the stair climb. Let's see, I believe it started around 2010. They started doing stair climbs around the nation, but Sedgwick County has been participating since 2011. Kansas City, and I believe we've been doing it ever since. Just every year we get a group of guys together, do the stair climb. Wichita started it. I don't believe when they started it, but it's been probably about 5 or 6 years. We've been doing it here in Wichita instead of Kansas City. So benefits go, I believe, to the National Firefighters Fallen Association. I think this year it went to Beyond the Call and I think firefighter transport. So this year we had about 21 people, so it's our largest group so far, but we do 110 floors and takes about anywhere from less than an hour or about 50 minutes to an hour and a half, depends on how fast we're climbing.
Very good. Captain, hold on one second. We had some commissioners that were there that day, and Commissioner Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, Captain, thank you for being here today. Commissioner Howell and I were honored to attend the stair climb on Saturday morning, and wish you all well as you went into the building. We thank you very much for doing that and recognizing the 343 firefighters that did die that day, along with thousands of other civilians that were in that building, in those two buildings. So today there was an 8:30 ceremony over at the Wichita Firefighters Museum that unfortunately we couldn't make today. But a portion of the North Tower is at the Firefighters Museum. And so if you have a chance and if you want to see a portion of the tower, it will be there, I think, for a month or two, actually. So go over and visit that and remember, we must never forget.
Absolutely,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Captain, thank you. And wait 1 second. You said the range was 50 minutes to an hour and a half. How long did it take you to get to the top?
Well, to do all 110, I think our team did it like in an hour and 7 minutes.
Very good,
So,
very good. Very important, very symbolic. Thank you for all that you do, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for serving this community.
Okay, next Saturday, September 21st, it's National Cleanup Day. And so we're inviting everyone to pitch in at the park. Volunteer at Sedgwick County Park from 9 a.m. to noon to help paint and pick up trash and tree limbs. Here's a short video about the event coming up. Just kidding. It's coming. Just wanted to keep you on your toes.
Hello, I'm David Dennis, Sedgwick County Commissioner for District 3, home Sedgwick County Park, where nearly 1 million people every year enjoy all kinds of outdoor fun, from pickleball, tennis and fishing, to walking, biking and playing. There's something for everyone, and it's all free. Now let's do our part to take care of this community treasure. Volunteer for National Cleanup Day on Saturday, September 21st from 9 to noon. Just a few hours of painting or picking up trash will keep Sedgwick County Park clean and inviting for the future. Go to Sedgwick County's website at sedgwickcounty.org to sign up. It's time to pitch in for the park.
Thank you again, Commissioner Dennis, for helping us make that video. One more time, volunteers are encouraged to bring water, complete your waiver form, and bring it with you at Sedgwick County Park on Saturday. And you can find all of that information on our website, again, at sedgwickcounty.org. And that's all I have.
Okay, very good. The man of the hour, Commissioner Dennis.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, I've been fighting off the paparazzi from that video, so you have to bear with me today. No, but communications did a fantastic job. They always make us look good. And this is an important event. Sedgwick County Park, as I said in the video, we have 1 million people that visit that park every year. And we need to keep it clean. Unfortunately, on our last budget cycle, we cut most of the funding to keep it clean. So we're going to have to rely on the public to help us keep it clean and to get it in shape. Last week, actually, if you got over to the Boundless Playground, the Sunrise Rotary Club was there, and they built that whole thing, millions of dollars to cost to put that in. And they cleaned it up. So it is spectacular right now, but we need the rest of the park to look as well. So I urge everyone to come out. I'll be out there on the 21st, and I'll be signing autographs. Again, thanks to our communication staff for putting this together. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll bring the Sharpies for you.
There you go. Okay, any other questions for Nicole? Can you give us an update? How's that baby boy?
He's doing good. He slept 5 hours last night, so I feel kind of human today.
Yeah, very good. Well, we're glad to have you back, Nicole.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations
Appreciate it.
again. Okay. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public agenda.
Okay, we did have one person sign up for public agenda, the aforementioned Mayor George Lieb from Goddard. Mayor?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chairman,
Good to see you.
Commissioners, I just want to take an opportunity to personally invite you to our Senior Center grand opening on the 19th at 3 o'clock. Our community has rallied around the seniors, and there's been a lot of change in our community in the last 9 months, positive things that are happening. We had a couple volunteers that have kind of run with this. As of this morning, I think we have 267 members signed up. I've brought a membership application for Commissioner Dennis because I know after December he's probably going to be looking for some things to do. So I'll leave that. And I'll leave one of our, this is the second monthly newsletter. Right, he can autograph it. We'll frame it and hang it up in our, bring that to the grand opening. We'll be sure to make a special presentation for that. But just some of the things too, I want to thank too Central Plains Area Agency on Aging and aging projects. We're in the process, hopefully the 1st of October, starting a Meals on Wheels program and friendship meals, which will not only serve the community of Goddard itself, but the surrounding area. Different community groups and businesses have chipped in to provide exercise equipment. I know that Walmart is going to volunteer to help deliver meals, and they've got a foundation program for every hour that an employee at Walmart serves. They'll provide $10 in funding towards the senior center. So it's just neat to be in a situation where we've kind of reset our priorities with the budget. We will fully fund the senior program this year at $46,000. With $6,000 from the county. We appreciate that money too. And I think we'll be operating at a level 2, which I'm not sure of the process, but I think that puts us at maybe a $35,000 or on the old formula. I know you guys are going to be working on that for the future, but we're thankful for the support that we see from the county. We've really neglected the seniors in our community for a long time. Sometimes when you tell people that we don't have money for something, you're really saying that it's not a priority to us. And we have determined with our new council and our city staff that we're going to make seniors a priority, and to see the relationships that have developed, it's really been gratifying. Another thing that's developed in our community this year is we moved our community garden. There's 12 garden plots for individuals. We have 3 plots for community members. And we have almost 85 to 90 people that have signed up to be part of the garden community, the online community. So there's a lot of sharing information and things. I spent a Saturday putting together one of those garden plots with a 5-year-old that now when she sees me, they had a little entrepreneurial thing at our parks thing at our street maintenance or street fair this weekend, and she goes, "There's the mayor." So I ended up buying one of her little painted rocks. So entrepreneurs are being developed in Goddard as well. So a lot of great things happening. We've got some street projects. One of the things we did in our budget too, as well as we started a 5 year, starting this next year, $5 million for $1 million a year for 5 years to do street repair and improvements on our streets. So we've raised our mill levy a little bit. We appreciate you guys lowering it so we could kind of take some of that slack up. And but our mill levy, I think, in terms of the ring around Wichita, we're still, if not the lowest, one of the lowest communities with our mill levy. So, but I did want to invite you all again personally, and like I said, I will leave this for the star here. We get an autographed copy of that for Commissioner Dennis.
Very good, Mayor. Thank you for that update. A couple questions. Commissioner Meister.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, welcome. And, it's really nice to have you come and give us an update and for us to hear your community input on making the senior center better than just the check that the county writes. And that's really helpful. And,
You bet.
we have this discussion every year, the 6 years I've been around here. And I think this is the first time we've ever had somebody come in and tell us what they're contributing to support it and actually say thank you. This is, I think, our first thank you of all the senior centers. So
appreciate that.
And the other updates is the mayor of Goddard in a growing community is good. Thank you for being here and sharing that.
You bet. Thanks.
Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, thank you for coming today. I did not solicit him to come. I want to make sure everybody knows that.
No, I came on my own accord, but I was driving a van, not an Accord. Bad old man humor, so sorry.
I've been fighting for more funding for senior centers in District 3 for almost as long as I've been here. You get $5,000 or $6,000 is all you get. You put in thousands and thousands more. You're growing. I think that you definitely deserve more. The seniors in my district deserve more. I've heard from Garden Plain Senior Center. They're doing more out there. But when my district has the lowest funding for seniors and the same number of seniors as everybody else, it's unfortunate. I fought for it during the budget process and lost. But hopefully whoever takes over my job in the future has more success. But thanks for what you do for our seniors. I sincerely appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. And I just want to point out, too, that in the past, we haven't been very diligent as a community to work on this. And I think there have been some years where we've actually returned some of the funding on the $6,000 level. But that has changed in our community. The volunteers, the people that are involved in this, they run an exercise class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 30, 35 people have been showing up. I usually show up late, say a few words to my wife, and then leave because there's only one guy there out of the 35 people. And as I left the other day, I said, he's probably the luckiest man in Goddard because he's exercising with 35 women. But that's another bad joke. But the fact of that the community involvement, the interaction of people that are seniors. The other thing, we have a list of over 100 people that are shut-ins. We're going through a process right now of contacting them individually, going to their door, explaining to them the program, letting them know that the opportunity exists for meals being delivered to them. So, and I don't want to take any credit for this, but the members of our community have come together and are making this happen, and that's what's exciting to see. I mean, it's just like with cleaning the parks. Sometimes it takes the community pulling together to make things happen, and people are willing to do that to improve the quality of life, and I'm just really feel blessed to be a part of just sharing the story today, but I appreciate the time, so thank you.
Well, Mayor, thank you for that update on Goddard. We're proud of what's going on in Goddard. There's a lot of growth, a lot of success stories coming from Goddard. I will also say that last week I shared an email with Annette Graham. She's our Director of Aging and CDDO, and Tim Kaufman, our Deputy County Manager, about what it looks like to actually perform an audit and take an inventory of the current senior center so we can make sure that everybody's on pace and as we discuss funding and reforming the funding models and the tiers. So those conversations are ongoing, but we know what's happening in Goddard is going to be a great success, and we're happy to support.
Well, I appreciate that. And sometimes when things change like that in a short period of time, it's maybe important to come out and just share the information. So I appreciate you giving me the time today to do that.
We're glad you did. Thank you, Mayor. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay. That's all for public agenda. I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Consideration of minutes, item A, regular meeting minutes of August 14th, 2024.
Commissioners, if you look at items A and B, all commissioners were present. So if there's no objection, I'll just combine items A and B into one motion.
Second.
Okay?
Oh, wait, sorry. I'm jumping ahead here.
That's good, though.
I got really excited that we were going to
So
get
here's
that
the
done
motion.
quick.
I'll move to approve the regular meeting minutes of August 14th and August 21st, 2024.
Second.
There's the second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner. Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Proclamations, item C, proclamation declaring Constitution Week.
Yeah, two proclamations today. Both of them are incredibly moving. I've asked Commissioner Howell to read the proclamation declaring Constitution Week.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the chance to do this today. Proclamation reads, whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitutional Week. Now therefore be it resolved that Chairman Ryan K. Beatty and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through September 23rd of 2024 as Constitutional Week. And we ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution that they had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion we would adopt this proclamation.
Yeah, and I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner. Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, the proclamation will be received, it was going to be received by Mary Jo Gurley, but we're going to ask Deb Eves and Val Bothell to come forward, please. All three of them are regents of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I'd like to ask them to come forward if they can and make some commentary if that's appropriate.
Yes. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for your time and putting us on your agenda. On behalf of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, I would like to thank the Sedgwick County Commission for this proclamation to recognize September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. This year we celebrate the 237th anniversary of our nation's founding document, the U.S. Constitution. Although it's been amended 27 times since it's been ratified, the Constitution still stands as the supreme law of the land.
The Daughters of the American Revolution celebrate the work of the American patriots who sacrificed so much for our freedom and way of life. During Constitution Week, local DAR members will be participating in activities and sharing the story of the Constitution and the beginning of this great nation with the future leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
you so much. Hold 1 second. We might have some questions and comments. Commissioner Howell.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to say this is one of those proclamations I really look forward to every year, so thank you for making this important. As I continue to serve in public office, this draw to the Constitution is getting stronger and stronger all the time, and I actually like that very much. I tend to carry a pocket Constitution with me most of the time, and I wanted to share with you all that I'm still learning about it. This is one of those things where I think that I would actually like to memorize it one of these days. This really is an awesome document. There's some things that they believed back in the beginning of the Constitution that frankly have been addressed since then. For example, the Bill of Rights wasn't adopted until 4 years after the Constitution itself was adopted. And of course, in the Bill of Rights, it recognized inalienable God-given rights. Some people believed that they were so obvious we shouldn't have to articulate them, and other people said, let's articulate them. And so that was adopted 4 years later. We're still making changes. I was just as was reflecting on this. The last amendment to the Constitution was made in 1992. People don't know that. One before that was made in 1971. The amendments to the Constitution have done things like outlaw slavery, for example, and make sure that people who are age 18 and older have the right to vote. Women have the right to vote. Slaves have the right to vote. It establishes the structure of our government. And so this is a foundational document. It establishes the issues of states' rights, which I firmly believe in. It demonstrates the limits of federal government, which I think we need to reflect on that more and more. And so the Constitution really is important, and I think that we should take time this week to make sure you read the Constitution. It will only take you about 10 minutes, maybe 15 if you're a slow reader. You can read this in 15 minutes, and it means a lot to what our country stands for. I wanted just to share with you, I did give a copy to all three of you. In reflecting on this as this was coming up, about a month ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that, about a month ago, I started thinking about the Kansas Constitution. And we take an oath, all of us take an oath. I did this in the military, took an oath to uphold this Constitution. But as I took position on this, in this job as a county commissioner, I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Kansas. And thought to myself, I rarely ever read this. But we took an oath to uphold it. It actually, my little copy, I made this copy for myself and a few others. I'm working on making copies for other people as well. But this ended up being 60 pages long. It's a much longer document. This is not an easy read, I hate to tell you. But it's incredibly important to our state. And it tells us how our state is structured, just like this tells us how our country is structured. So I'm working on making this more important to our people. So I think this needs to be reflected on even more and more. But today, of course, we're celebrating this document and how incredibly important this is. It's a simple, easy document, but it drives everything we do. And if you don't know what it says, then you're missing out. This should be reflected upon by every decision we make. And I'll just share with you, there's just one little tidbit on this one. The very first three things it talks about is property taxes and school finance. So just like to point that out. That's very interesting. That even precedes the preamble of the Kansas Constitution. Before that, it deals with property taxes and school finance. So that's very interesting. And with that, I want to say thank you. I hope that you guys have lots of celebrations planned. I plan on at least doing one speaking opportunity on this on Thursday. So appreciate what you do, making this important to all of us. Appreciate you so much.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Very good. One second. Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here today. We appreciate it very much. As Commissioner Howell mentioned, he and I both took an oath of office when we joined the military to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's an oath that never goes away. In addition, as he mentioned, when we were sworn into this job, we not only took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, but also the Constitution of the state of Kansas. And that doesn't go away. So these are important documents that rule our country. Also, I appreciate the Daughters of America Revolution for a number of reasons. First of all, I'm active with the JROTC, and you're there every year giving awards out. And I thank you very much for that. I have had an opportunity to go to your convention several times, and I appreciate that, being invited to that. And a few years ago, I did receive the Distinguished Citizens Award from the Daughters of American Revolution, and I thank you for that. It was a great honor receiving that award. So thank you for being here today. I know here in a little bit we'll be taking pictures after the next proclamation, but I look forward to thanking you in person once again. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your military service
thank
as
you.
well, both Commissioner Howell and Dennis.
Yeah,
We appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you again for being here. We appreciate all that you do and what this proclamation represents. Hang tight, and after the second proclamation, we'll get some pictures out here in the foyer.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item D, proclamation declaring Suicide Prevention Week.
Okay, Commissioners, I would like to read this proclamation of Sedgwick County, Kansas. Whereas in the United States, one person dies by suicide every 11 minutes, with an average of 135 deaths by suicide a day. About every 4 days, someone in Sedgwick County dies by suicide. And whereas psychological studies have consistently found that the overwhelming majority of people who die by suicide, 90% or more, had a mental disorder at the time of their deaths, and often these disorders had not been recognized, diagnosed, or adequately treated. And whereas Far too many Sedgwick County residents in Kansas die by suicide each year, and most of these deaths are preventable. In 2023, 94 Sedgwick County residents died by suicide. And whereas the mission of the Sedgwick County Suicide Prevention Coalition is to promote and implement evidence-based approaches, local research, and community change to reduce the impact of suicide with the ultimate goal of zero suicides in Sedgwick County. And whereas in Sedgwick County, help is available by calling the Suicide Prevention Hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days per week at 316-660-7500 or by dialing only 3 digits, 988. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Chairman Ryan K. Beatty, and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of September 8th through the 14th, 2024, as National Suicide Prevention Week. The topic of suicide will continue to challenge us all to increase our awareness and education, and I call upon the residents of our community to join me in learning to recognize the signs of someone at risk, taking those signs seriously, and knowing how to respond. It is important that we challenge ourselves to gain an understanding of the risk associated with suicide and to recognize Suicide Prevention Week this year. Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. I move to approve as read.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner. Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. And here to accept this proclamation, we have our Director of Comcare, Joan Tammany. We also have Dr. Nicole Kloss here as well. Joan, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioner and Chairman. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes to talk about the sobering issue of suicide. I do want to comment that September acknowledges also the inaugural 988 Day, Recovery Month, World Suicide Day, and then, of course, Suicide Prevention Month, all very, very important. And you're going to hear from Dr. Kloss in just a moment about the statistics from 2023 for suicides here in Sedgwick County. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for teens and the third leading cause of death for those between the ages of 4 and 35. So it's a pretty significant issue. I have shared previously that suicide can plague somebody for a long time and they can suffer in silence. Some turn to alcohol and drugs, others act out. There's a lot of behaviors that can indicate the risk of suicide, but it's not always evident to people that know them. Thus, the importance of checking on people and promoting suicide prevention lines like we have here in Sedgwick County, and not being afraid to ask somebody if they're struggling, and directly asking if they're having suicidal thoughts. I'm pleased to announce, and I think this is pretty significant, that in just a few short days, on September 17th, 2 of the major telecom services, T-Mobile and Verizon, will launch geo-routing for the 988 Lifeline, meaning that historically calls have been directed based on area code. Now, come the 17th, for those 2 carriers, they will be directed, regardless of area code, to the closest 988 crisis center, which is really good. So if you have an Atlanta area code, but you're here in our surrounding area and closest to Sedgwick County, our 988 crisis line will pick up. I do want to make sure that I introduce my clinical directors that are here today that work with this every day. I have Chantel Westbrook, Jen Wilson, and Michelle Calvert, and they're not speaking today, but they're critical in the mission that we do. Many people struggle emotionally. Like I said, we'll do so in silence. And I think for us during Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, we want to make sure that people recognize there's no shame. If people are struggling, have suicidal thoughts, or don't know how to carry on, there's help through the 988 crisis line as well as the crisis line, and we just really want to encourage people to talk to somebody when they're in that moment, because we know that most suicides can be prevented if we can get somebody through those few moments of real struggle. There are a lot of mental health and substance use providers here in our community, so whether you're a family member or a friend, if you're the one that's struggling, please ask for help. Reach out to family and friends, let them know. Parents, don't hesitate to ask your children on a routine basis how they're doing emotionally. Most kids will tell you if they're struggling. don't shy away from asking. Depression has many faces, and we need to recognize that. It's not always the person who starts giving something away or who is clearly evidencing severe symptoms of depression. It could be the quiet individual. It could be the star athlete on a football team. It could be the highest level performing student in school or the highest performing adult in a work setting. The emotional state is internal. So ComCare is one provider that's here to help. We offer a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis support through our 988 crisis line. We have amazing staff, and this is an important month to recognize all they do as well. We could do virtual visits, so we could do phone, we can meet face-to-face, and when needed, we can go out and do a mobile response to somebody in need. Help is confidential. We want to assure people of that. And then I also want to make sure to promote our teen suicide prevention campaign, Pain Zero Reasons Why. Teens in local schools could get involved. All of our districts are involved that are here in the Sedgwick County area. We would love to grow the size of that advocacy. We do have for you, I don't know if you could see, but our teens designed this cool new t-shirt. And it talks about being mental health advocates and that progress is important, perfection isn't likely. And we have t-shirts here for each of you. So Chantel's going to give those to you. And with that, is this when I'm turning it over to Nicole?
Nope, that's the next item.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't look at the agenda.
You're good. That's my job. Thank you. Joan, I want a couple things, thoughts and comments. First, I want to publicly thank you for all the work that you guys do with ComCare. You, Chantel, Jen, Michelle, thank you for the work that you guys do and the teams that you guys lead. There are there's a lot happening with ComCare, and you're pivoting to meet the needs in this community. Obviously, we have ComCare Crisis, the expansion that's coming, which is a big deal.
Big deal.
To help meet the needs of this community and the inputs that are growing in this community. You have your 988 you mentioned, and this is, we should celebrate what's happening at 988 more often. You've embedded ComCare support into 911. We have our mobile crisis teams. A lot of this has happened in the last few years, these pivots. So I just want to publicly take some time just to thank you. This is a sobering topic when we talk suicide.
It is.
But you're pivoting in ways to help meet the need for this community. And I just publicly want to make sure that your staff and your team and all the people at ComCare know how much we from this bench appreciate all that you're doing for our citizens in Sedgwick County. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
I would also make mention that you said something that resonated with me about it doesn't discriminate. Mental health doesn't discriminate, and death by suicide doesn't discriminate. A few years ago, we lost a young girl, KU cheerleader, who was a Mays graduate, named Remy. And Remy, we started a foundation in her honor 3 years ago called the Love Like Remy Foundation. We're having our second annual fundraiser gala last night. And what we do is we privately fundraise to put Pando Kid counselors inside the Mays School District, 5 of them, the elementary schools, to get preventative and upstream. We privately fundraise to the tune of around $300,000 annually to support our MHIT teams for Mays and to support our counselors in the Mays elementary schools so that we can help meet these needs. And it's all in the name and honor of a young gal, a great cheerleader, a 4.0 student that lost her life to suicide. So that annual gala is tomorrow, second annual gala.
Oh, cool.
But we will celebrate her honor and what all that her namesake is doing for this cause. So again, I just want to thank you. It means a lot to us of the work that you guys do. So.
Well, and the families of youth like Remy who die of suicide who continue to live that legacy by doing these events, that's amazing.
It does. Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you. Really quick, I just want to also thank you for the work that you're doing with Zero Reasons Why. That's such a fantastic group of kids. And I appreciate having the opportunity to come talk with them recently. But it gives me just hope for what the future is. I think for so long there's been this stigma around talking about mental health and what you struggle with individually. And I do think COVID kind of lessened that a little bit. People have an easier time discussing things and seeing the impact that it has on their loved ones around them. But talking to these kids really just, I mean, the future of what this is going to look like is significantly different than what it is even today. So I'm just grateful for the work that you're doing to invest in our youth and making sure that the next generation is able to have, not only have these conversations, but be preventative to their peers and helpful to their peers in a way that, adults might not be able to be. So just appreciate your work there too. So thank you very much.
They're pretty amazing.
They are pretty amazing.
And you're right,
Really
they're
are.
the generation that's going to bust all the stigma. We're pretty proud of them.
Amen. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is such an important topic. I was just at breakfast this morning with some men that I meet with every Wednesday morning, and one of the men I was with said he had a family member who succumbed to this last week. And it's such a sobering topic. It's hard to talk about. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for bringing attention to this. I agree with Commissioner Lopez. I think this, and I've talked to you about this before, the issue of stigma is a big problem. It is a barrier. People who reach out, if they get help they don't want, if they don't feel like they're in control of their situation, they're not going to reach out. They want to maintain control. And they want to be able to not have someone invite themselves into their life uninvited, so to speak. Mm-hmm. That's a real problem. They want to maintain control. And second of all, if they do reach out, they don't want to have a stigma that follows them the rest of their lives. There are people in certain career fields that if they ever do reach out, again, if they say they have a time of depression, which is very normal, lots of people have depression. If they reach out and get help, get some kind of medication to help them through that, that's a lifelong stigma that follows them. So there is some work to do. I think legislatively we need to address some of these things. I'm still concerned that I've talked about this year after year, and I think there's other people who do agree with me, but we're not really changing these issues. And I think that there's opportunities that we've just not realized yet. When you talk about mental health being tied into suicide, can you confirm or let me know is there data to talk about mental illness? I assume we're including depression into that discussion. How much of this is depression versus other types of mental illness like bipolar syndrome or whatever? I'd like to know if there's a way to differentiate, statistically, if depression, simple depression, and it might because they're having marital problems or having job issues or having financial issues or medical issues that causes depression. How many people, because of depression alone, have decided to do this? So do we have that type of data?
Yeah, I don't know that I could cite any specific data, but I know Dr. Klaus will be talking about the social and economic indicators that contribute toward thoughts and actions of suicide. I mean, relationship issues are huge. So somebody could be incredibly anxious and then all of a sudden have relationship issues, and it can turn south in their thought processes. So I don't know that we could say one diagnosis is stronger indicator than others, because there's so many other social factors that go into play when it comes to suicide. But she'll talk a little bit about that in her presentation.
So my reason I bring this up is it seems to me that this issue of depression is usually something that may happen for a period of time and then people climb out of that. So it's not considered like a condition that follows you necessarily. Maybe you have a propensity to be depressed, but it may be substance abuse that has tied into that in some way, right, that's caused some of that. But depression is one of those things that it's not like it's in your DNA necessarily. You can address depression. I'm a little bit reluctant to call depression a mental illness because I think people might admit to being depressed. They don't want to admit to having a mental illness. Many people see the difference in those two things. Depression could be for all kinds of reasons, and you deal with those issues, and you can get better and climb out of that situation. But mental illness sounds like it's something that you have, like it's cancer or something. So I want to be I'm trying to differentiate mentally from my own understanding here. If someone is dealing with depression, I don't want to necessarily stigmatize them by calling it a mental illness. I think it is maybe in the field of your world, maybe that's something you just do naturally, but I want to say from the perspective of the people we serve, that is a connection that may not be very welcome. The idea of mental illness, depression being a mental illness, I think is a concern. I think people don't want to have that stigma.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond to that because, I mean, if you think back to other issues that were stigmatizing, like AIDS was still a health condition, just like depression is still a mental health issue. So I think the term mental health should not be stigmatizing in and of itself.
No, I'm afraid that it might be, and that is a concern. But another thing is, how long have we had the 988 line active now?
July 16th, 2022.
So do we have any data to show any change in rates since that implementation of that 988 line?
Jen?
You can wait till you get, whoever's going to speak next, I guess I'll just ask the question at that time. It's fine. But I'd like to know if there's any.
I think as Dr. Kloss is going to share is we have some good news in terms of the data for suicide rates here in Sedgwick County. COVID took us on a deep dive. We were making progress as a state, and that took us to a negative trajectory, and I'm hoping we're coming out of it.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Chairman.
Okay, Joan, thank you again. I will note that on the consent agenda today, item M, we've had these the last few weeks. We are going to consider and hopefully approve our mental health intervention teams.
Yep.
This one in particular is going to Valley Center Schools.
Yep,
a state grant, so this is a big deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate this proclamation. We want to get some pictures to honor these proclamations. If you can just give us about 5 minutes, we'll take a quick break, head out here, and then we'll be right back.
all right, babies. I had to say hi. Sorry. You said 5 minutes. That wasn't quite.
Okay, folks, back to work we go. Madam Clerk, next item.
New business, item E, Sedgwick County Suicide Prevention Coalition 2023 Suicide Data Report.
Dr. Klaus, welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for having me here today. I am Nicole Klaus. I am a psychologist and an associate professor at KU School of Medicine here in Wichita, and a member of the Sedgwick County Suicide Prevention Coalition. And I want to start by acknowledging the people and partnerships that make these data possible. And I am here to share with you today that we lost 94 members of our community to suicide in 2023, which is a rate of 18 per 100,000. And while this is too many losses, this is also a 13% decrease in suicide deaths over 2022. So this graph shows our trends over the last 23 years. And we can see Sedgwick County is the blue line on this graph. And so the rates tend to fluctuate more than the national rates just because of the smaller numbers. But Sedgwick County rates tend to be higher than national numbers. But with that decrease this year, this is the lowest rate that we have seen here in Sedgwick County since 2015. And with the work of all of the partners I was sharing with you, we have local data ready to go sooner than state and national data. Those won't be coming out for a little bit yet. So when we break it down by age groups, in 2023, we saw decreases in suicide rates for everybody 54 and under, while our 55 and older age groups increased slightly. And so it was really refreshing today to see some of the work happening in Goddard and some of our other communities to build resources and communities for these older adults with the senior center that they have going there.
That's good.
Similar to previous years, males make up the vast majority of suicide deaths in Sedgwick County, accounting for a little over 3/4 of the deaths last year. And again, similar to previous years, firearms continue to be the most common method of suicide, accounting for about 65% of the deaths in 2023. And I think this slide addresses some of the questions that were coming up earlier. In Sedgwick County last year, 58% of the deaths had a known history of mental illness, most commonly depression, but also anxiety and other mental health conditions. And 51% had a known history of suicidal ideations. These are just the known conditions, the thoughts and internal states that were shared with others, or through treatment seeking. And so the true numbers are much higher than this, I'm sure. But this does present an opportunity for intervention and connecting people to resources. In addition, 43% had a known history of chronic medical illnesses. And so again, contacts with clinicians and medical providers presents an opportunity for identification and intervention. So when we look at some of the precipitants and life stressors in our suicide decedents, we find that in general, for younger people, those age 34 and younger, relationship stressors are the most common noted precipitant, while in adults over 64, physical health stressors are the most common noted stressor in the autopsy reports. Okay. And I'm really excited about this slide, and we've already talked about some of these things, especially the youth-initiated interventions and awareness events that are happening in our community. We've had many classes and trainings, both for professionals and for lay community members, in how to support and connect people that they know to resources for suicide prevention. And we host an annual Survivors of Suicide Loss Day event, those who have been closely impacted by deaths of loved ones, and that was attended by approximately 45 people last year. And so certainly we've talked a little bit about 988. If you're in crisis or you have a friend or family member who's in crisis, help is available by calling 988 or the local suicide prevention line. ComCare answered over 44,000 calls in 2023. So know that you're not alone, and that help and resources and support are available. So for those wanting to learn more, there are a variety of classes and information and resources available. But it's important to know the signs, the variety of warning signs that somebody might be considering suicide, and to be willing to take it seriously and ask the question and provide support and connections to resources. So there are many events coming up in the next month or so, as well as the coming year. There is a day-long workshop training for clinicians in evidence-based suicide prevention interventions, as well as mental health first aid classes for people who need a kind of briefer exposure to the resources that are available. The coalition is going to be at Open Streets ICT next month, just providing resources and connecting people with the information that they need. Our next Survivors of Suicide Loss event is November 23rd, typically the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And our Suspenders for Hope Walk and Run is going to be held in the spring this coming year. Thank you.
Okay, very important and sobering presentation there. You had made a couple questions. You had made the comment that death by suicide was down 13% in 2023 versus 2022. Did I get that number correct?
Yes.
Okay. The assumption is that the social determinants that influence a lot of death by suicide hasn't changed and maybe even have gotten worse. So what are some of your reasons you think that maybe the decrease has occurred? 13% is a big number.
It is, and so I'm excited about it, but I don't want to get too excited because we do see those fluctuations from year to year. But I also look at the growing supports that we have in our community for people in crisis to reach out and get help through ComCare and other local agencies, as well as more of the upstream interventions happening in schools and community centers and things that are being done just to build community supports.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed in some of the organizations I'm affiliated with, especially with youth, is obviously training them to understand what their peers are going through and be aware of the signs that someone is battling a mental health disorder or maybe even suicide, thoughts of suicide. But it's not even teaching them to become their own social workers or psychiatrists. It's teaching them what resources are available and teaching them how to connect people to the resources. That's the biggest deal with, especially with our youth, is just letting them know these are the resources available. Here's the word tracks to warning signs, but here are the word tracks to connect people to the services and how to do it. And the team at ComCare and what you're doing, Doctor, is big advancements in that area. So I just want to thank you again for all that information.
Absolutely.
And all the work you're doing. Is there any other questions or comments for Dr. Klaus? Again, very good. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you. Madam Clerk, I make a motion to receive and file. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner. Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Item F, set the public hearing for the proposed adoption of the International Building Code 2024 edition.
Mr. Chris Labrum, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Yes, for the record, Chris Labrum, MABCD. Excuse me. And Chairman, if you would like, I believe you could take items F, G, and H all in one motion if Mr. Wagner
Okay.
concurs with that.
County Councilor, Mr. Wagner, what are your thoughts?
Yes, Chairman Justin Wagner, County Councilor, that'd be permissible.
Okay. Any objection from the commission to do items F, G, and H together? I think
Yes.
we're good. Okay. Chris, go ahead.
Yes, of course, if there's any individual concerns or objection to that, we can take those as they go. But all of these items are asking to set a public hearing for code adoption on the 9th of October. The first is the International Building Code. This is our commercial building code. This is our heaviest lift as an adoption and as a code review. Based on the stakeholder relationship and the number of those, we approach this a little bit differently in that a stakeholder committee actually reviews that code before it's taken to our Board of Building Code Standards and Appeals. So both of those take a look at it after a stakeholders committee has actually proposed the initial adoption. This one also requires a review by the Office of the State Fire Marshal, and the Fire Marshal's office agreed to do that in advance of our adoption this year, so we already have their approval, which is unique and very helpful, so we greatly appreciate them for that. We will, of course, report back to them if any changes are made. Right along with that is the International Existing Building Code, a much smaller piece of this, but a very important code in that anytime a commercial building is being remodeled, renovated, repurposed especially, this code helps us match that with from the code at the time it was built with the current code and helps us bridge that gap to assist with the design and to be able to, again, set those requirements as to what must be upgraded with accessibility, et cetera. So ADA is a big part of that code. On both of those this year, we did not see very many changes. A lot of the changes are from the increased uses of lithium-ion batteries, for example, things of that nature. So we did not see any reason to change those. So there's relatively little change to our local amendment package. One thing you will see is that we did increase the amount of work that can be done without requiring a permit. So we do think that we're still well within the safety zone, but that will help and support our local industry. One unique item there is that by state law, if we require a permit on a commercial building, we are to also require the sealed drawings from either an architect or an engineer. So that's one reason that that line where the permit is required is very important to businesses. And then lastly with these is the International Mechanical Code, also an International Code Council code. We have very few changes to the code from the 21 version to the 24 version. Most of what we saw in it was related to refrigerants, and we have never sought to limit any refrigerant that is approved at the national level, and a lot of their internal code changes were designed to address that and to coordinate with jurisdictions that are seeking to maybe do that, which again we do not, and that code was reviewed by the Mechanical Board. So with that, Commissioners, I'll gladly stand for any questions, and it's my recommendation that the Commission set the public hearing for these three code adoptions on the 9th of October and authorize us to publish those hearings in the county's newspaper.
Okay. Okay, Chris, thank you for that presentation, that update. A few questions. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is kind of a new set of items that I've not spent much time before today thinking about this just now, but this first one, is this a brand new code? I mean, it looks like it says there's adopt a new commercial building code. The other ones look like they're existing.
So this is a new version of the commercial building code. It is just the updated version of the ICC code we have used. Now, the existing building code refers to an existing building, a previously constructed building, and its relation to current codes.
So Okay, so we've not seen the details of any of this up to this point.
And that is correct. So we will send those to the commissioners once we have a public hearing set, and we will be scheduled to brief you all. I think our window is the last few days of September through the first week of October.
Does the state fire marshal only deal with the first one of the three?
That is correct, and only the chapters in that code that overlap with the fire code.
Okay. And just to want to make sure, I assume that the Wichita Builders and other, I know we have trades folks on our boards, but the Wichita Builders have they been engaged in this process?
Yeah, yes, they have, and we'll be giving them a more detailed brief Thursday with them.
Well, I'm always a little bit nervous about adopting more code because usually, I mean, not always, but a lot of times there's more regulations and more hoops to jump through, and some of this stuff is dreamed up as being good ideas, but not necessarily because of something that's wrong in the country somewhere. So I'm going to be very interested in looking at these changes, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that and having that review. And I would support the motion I'll support a motion to set these hearings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Okay, so with respect to items F, G, and H, I move that the board sets the public hearings for the proposed adoptions of the 2024 versions of the International Building Code, International Existing Building Code, and International Mechanical Code for October 9th, 2024 at 9 a.m., and that notices for each of these public hearings will be published once in the official county newspaper.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Chris, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
So we'll talk soon. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda.
Manager Stoltz.
Chairman and Commissioner, good morning. Tom Stoltz, County Manager's Office. Recommend approval of consent items I through R on the agenda this morning.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions on any of the items on the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I move to approve the consent agenda items I through R.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Meitzner. Aye. Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Committee reports.
Commissioners, any committee reports you'd like to share with the public? Okay. Commissioner Dennis.
Real briefly, Jubilee was last Saturday night, a gorgeous night. The place was packed. I think it was a great success. I want to thank all the community for coming out and supporting our great zoo. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else on committee reports? Okay, next item, please.
Other.
Anything under other?
Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you. Sorry, I've talked a lot today, but that's kind of unusual with the number of things. But first of all, I want to go back and reflect on how we started the meeting today, and that's because today is 9/11. And I want us to make sure that we never forget. I want to thank everyone for participating in a moment of silence to remember that. Next thing I want to talk about briefly is Honor Flight 100 comes back today. And I think a number of us are going to go out to the Red Roof Inn to greet Honor Flight number 100. I understand the governor is going to be there today. And it's a great way to honor our veterans that served during the time of war. After I came back on 98, I talked about it, and it is a moving experience, honestly. So I appreciate everyone that's going out to recognize Honor Flight number 100. A couple other things that are happening. Last Friday, Heights High School had Military Appreciation Day. And I was able to go out and actually delivered the football to play the game ball that night and did the coin flip that night. So coming up on the 20th, Mays High School is doing a similar thing. I can't make that one because I'm announcing Northwest High School game that night, so I'll miss it. But the schools, I appreciate each school that's recognizing the sacrifices of our men and women that serve in the military. I want to thank them very much for that. One other thing when I'm talking about Heights High School, and I'm going to put in, this is a non-paid political announcement, okay? Last Friday, the principal of Heights High School came to see me, and he has a number of graduates from Heights High School that have died in battle. And he wants to recognize those with a memorial. And this memorial is going to have the names of every one of the graduates that died in battle for our country. On one side, it's going to have a poem. On the other, it's a kind of a triangular-shaped monument. And on the other side is going to have the symbol of the soldier that's bending down with a rifle, praying for his fallen soldier. And above that's going to be the American flag. And to get to that, as you walk out of the high school, they're going to have an outdoor classroom there, and you have to pass by that memorial as you're walking out to that outdoor classroom. And the reason this is an advertisement today is because it's going to cost $200,000 to build this facility. And he asked for my help, and this is one way that I'm hoping to help, is get the word out that if small donations, no matter how small, and we're going to see if some other organizations can help fund that. But I'm going to continue to work this to make sure that they recognize the men and women that made the ultimate sacrifice to our nation. So thanks for anything that you can provide, and you can send checks out to Wichita Heights High School. The principal, Eric Felipe, would be more than happy to accept your donations.
Very good.
The last thing that I want to talk about briefly is that at a recent meeting, we passed the budget, and I had some concerns about the budget at the time, and I honestly still have a few concerns about the budget, but I did receive a letter yesterday from KPTS Victor Hogstrom, and he talks about several things in here that kind of concern me. He believes that the only way that we can be transparent is by broadcasting over KPTS, and that's absolutely not true. We broadcast over Facebook Live. We transmit over, what's the other one? YouTube. And we post it on our website. He talks about you have to have broadcast TV in order to look at it. Well, my wife and I cut the cable here a couple years ago, and as I scan the channels that are available to me over the air, I can't pick up KPTS. Out of all the channels, he thinks that, so I'd have to have cable in order to be able to see it. In addition, here in the building, our director of IT came to us not too long ago and said, hey, we're spending an awful lot of money on cable. And I said, well, I'm happy to get rid of the cable in my office as long as that I can receive KPTS, because I thought it was important since we were broadcasting over that. And so they took my cable down and tried to put up an antenna, and we couldn't get it. Couldn't scan it, couldn't get it. You can't get KPTS in this building over the air. So I think that he's kind of stressing some things that aren't true. The fact is that as we went into that budget, there were over $2.5 million worth of decision packages that never even made it into the budget. $2.5 million worth of things that our employees thought were critical for them to do their job. And we didn't even put them in the budget. In addition, we had 10 or 12 different organizations that we'd been providing money to, and we cut those. We didn't cut all of it, but we cut portions of it. Our communications department came up with a way that we could save $80,000 a year. And for some unknown reason, Commissioner Meitzner and I, they're the only two that agreed with that. And I still disagree with it strongly. One thing that Victor put in his letter is that he said, and I have a problem because a lot of times we run over past 1 o'clock. And he said, from now on, we're going to go gavel to gavel the entire meeting until instructed otherwise. Well, the way that the contract's written, from the way I understand it, is as we go beyond certain times, we pay a whole lot more for it. So is this a way that he's going to ask for even more funding from the county in the future? If so, I'm even more against it. So I was a little disappointed in this letter that I received from Victor, because he absolutely doesn't understand that this is property tax money, property tax that is the most hated tax that we have out here. And there is numerous ways that we are transparent. If he's accusing us of not being transparent because we're not broadcasting over KTPS, he is absolutely wrong. We are very diligent in making sure that we're transparent. So I just want to let everybody know I got this letter. If anyone wants to see it, I'd be happy to show it to them. I'm not pleased with the letter, and I'm not pleased that we're funding KPTS. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else under other? I would say Chris Labram, director of MABCD, was here today. I also want to make note, we'd mentioned some high schools. MABCD has a code liaison program, and today a large group of Mays High School students is doing a huge service project. They're cleaning up and assisting on cleanup of 15 individual properties and alleyways throughout Wichita. So I appreciate the program, the liaison program. Appreciate that Mays High School's participating in this. I think it's a great way to get our students and our young people engaged in some of these liaison programs. So just wanted to make note and let the folks at Mays know how much I appreciate that they're participating in that project. So anything else under other? Okay, seeing none. Next item, please. Executive session. No executive session today. So time is 10:18. We have completed the meeting for September 18th, 2024. We appreciate everybody that came today. We appreciate the proclamations and the work was done. We are officially adjourned.